A brutal finish. And Kafelnikov through. But in many ways through, it was a disappointing match. Tebet, I had the feeling...
There's a little movement of the hip and a movement of the shoulder, and I don't know what else he moved there, and completely fooled Becker. He's never been frightened to hit the second serve to the opponent's strength when he's playing a right-hander to the forehand. It's a very good tactic. As long as you do it well, of course. It does keep the receiver honest. It keeps him away from possibly getting into a groove on your second serve if you only serve to the backhand.
So Becker in a hurry in this second set, and after a really tight first one in which there wasn't a single break of serve,
Becker leads 3 games to love.
Becker has roared off to a 3-love second set lead. Just thinking as look at some of the replay of that last point, you know, that little prod down the line from Larsson. I mean, it really seems like a throwback to a previous generation. I can always remember Bob. I think I was 21 at the time, so we're going back a long time. Playing in the South of England Championships at Eastbourne, which was then both men and women, obviously, and I went on to court to play someone considerably older than me, and I thought, I'm going to muscle this guy, old geezer, off the court. And he served the reverse swing serve.
Oh, yes.
You know, when you hit the ball. And I mean, he had me bamboozled. I think I scraped through in 3, but, you know, for the first set, I hadn't got a clue what was going on out there.
Yeah, as soon as you get somebody that does something different, it can throw you off. I just want to tell you a very quick story. We're talking about Nastasi before the ATP was formed and all this control that we have nowadays. I played Nastasi in Rome, and I'd finished a point and he was serving, and I was walking from the left court to the right court, and the ball came past me, and I didn't know what was going on. And, you know, turned out that Nastasi had served a ball that went in. So the umpire said, well, you didn't put your hand up, so it's Nastasi's point. I'll finish it after this next point.
15 love.
So it happened a few points later. He did the same thing. I'm walking across and he aces me again. And we see this great serve. And of course, you didn't have the control that you have now, you know. So the umpire says, well, if you don't put your hand up, and I'd say, well, how can I put my hand up? I didn't even know he was serving. So I solved the problem. I walked up to Nastasi and I told him very nicely what I would do to him if he did it again. And you couldn't do that either nowadays. Oh, wow.
Yes, that's a big game in every respect from Magnus Larsson. He needed it, frankly.
Becker leads 3 games to
1. He surrendered the initiative at the start of this set to Becker. Some good serving and some heavy forehands. So 3-1. Oh, well, you would criticise him for not following the lob into the net, but then he comes up with something you can't criticise him for.
You always have to go up to the net after you've lobbed over your opponent's head, but then perhaps we can throw that theory out the window. Very dangerous, though, not to. Boris Becker looking very, very composed, very, very businesslike. Certainly is dictating the match thus far.
Well, you heard the bleep. Jerry Armstrong's not going to overrule that.
Certainly in on the centre line, but just a little bit long on the service line. A little bit angry with himself for missing that forehand return.
Well, Larsson's thrown up quite a lot of lobs, but always they've just been that fraction short of the length he's needed to really trouble Becker.
So it almost looks good. As it comes off the racket, it in fact does look good, and Becker couldn't get back to smash it. He just round-armed it. High volley.
Game Becker.
Ace number 7 from Boris Becker, who's hanging on to this advantage in the second set. 4-1.
We know the Earth revolves around the sun. We know fish breathe in water. We know how to make tiny umbrellas. We know the pen is mightier than the sword. We know X marks the spot and money can't buy love. We know how to make atoms dance. We know there is only one Coca-Cola.
Welcome to Flinders Park, Australia. The blazing sun of Melbourne heralds the first leg of the Grand Slam. The big names are already feeling the heat. You've been warned, the Australian Open is going to be hot. Very hot.
Boris Becker moving along very nicely now, thank you. Certainly compared with his first two matches here at Flinders Park, in which he was respectively 2-1 down to Greg Ruzetsky and 2-love down to Thomas Johansson. But he's a set to the good and 4-1 to the good against Magnus Larsson. Larsson to serve.
Never an easy shot to play the little angle, especially from that situation that Larsson tried to do it. But if you can control the ball, it's very effective. It's a very, very powerful returner serve, very deep.
First service. First service.
Yes, Becker really turning the screw at the moment. And Larsson constantly being left flat-footed. So 2 points for the double, 3 points for the double break. Well, he made it. Extraordinary. I was about to say he gave Becker far too many bites at the cherry, and somehow the ball got over the net. I don't quite know how.
Well, we'll see it now, because I didn't think he'd made it either, and he really did scramble there.
He's done it again. Well, extraordinary stuff from the Swede to get himself out of 3 break points.
Juice.
And that last forehand is a shot that you are seeing more and more often nowadays. It's really the off forehand, but it's an angle as well with topspin.
Advantage Larsson. Game Larsson.
Well, he got out of jail in a big way there, Magnus Larsson.
Becker leads 4 games to 2.
Becker's still in control with the break, but at love 40, that set looked dead and buried so far as the Swede was concerned. Yes.
Not a good enough first volley. Plus it was readable by Larsson. Becker comes in. He does a pretty good job of getting in, but really didn't do anything with it.
All. 30-15.
You better serve out.